we're going to pull inflows and outflows off with a clamp. If you are, once we get a couple of you through the change out, I'll show you how to cut tubing with a scalpel, okay? Because when you have fluid in a line and you double clamp it, you're going to alcohol wipe it and crimp it in half. When you cut on that crimp, it's pressurized. So you don't want to be cutting it looking at it, because otherwise you're going to get a face full of blood. And we realize you're going to be on bypass when you're changing this out, so there's going to be a lot of blood. Okay? How much do we have in that reservoir? 150. No fluids up here. Let's change this. And Shannon got us some more fluids here. Please line on here.
Yeah, I don't think it's connected.
No, this one's not connected. They took my thing off again. Oh my God, you guys are driving me crazy.
Oh, it's not
It's
here?
there.
Here,
Hold
hold
on.
on. Other.
Have you got one
There
on
it
the
is,
other one?
yeah. The
Oh,
other.
thank God. We're locked, yeah. And it's coming there. And we got suction and vent. Got a recert. Okay. This needs to be hooked up.
Because we gotta change the name. Right?
Okay. So you're on bypass. Oxygenator's gone kaput. You've got your backup stuff. What else do you need besides a backup oxygenator? Help. You're not going to be able to do this by yourself. Preferably another perfusionist, but if you don't have that, what are you going to need? A body. Any body will do, with a heartbeat preferably. Okay, somebody that can hold a device while you put lines on it or clamp and cut lines off, okay? What else?
Scalpel.
Sterilizing material and fine material.
Yeah. If you can get sterile scissors, that's going to be easier to cut because you don't have to crimp tubing. But the problem is, if you lay that pair of scissors down after you cut, it's no longer what? Sterile. So you don't want 8 pairs of sterile scissors. Okay. So generally, if you have a scalpel, the scalpel we have is got like a little cover over it. So I can cut something, put it back in, it's still sterile. I can cut something else, put it back in, still sterile. Okay, alcohol wipes, they're like little 2 by 2 inch squares that have alcohol in them, and you tear them, and you can wipe tubing with it, because the tubing's not going to be sterile, because you've had this out in the room and you may have touched it or whatever, but wherever you double clamp and you kink it over, you're going to have to wipe that. You're not going to get it sterile again, but you're trying to decrease the bacteria that's on it, from whether it was your hands or somebody else's hands, right? Okay, so when you think about walking through this, okay, you're going to have, if I'm with Randy and he's asked me to come in and help him change out an oxygenator, you know, you've got to have a method to the madness, right? So let's say we're changing out for a water leak. We want to make sure we water test the new device before we start hooking a bunch of lines to it and find out, oh my God, this one's busted too, right? So you got to work a water test in, okay? If you'll notice, what we're going to do today is we're going to follow our level down and we're going to clamp out our reservoir, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to clamp our venous return, ask the surgeon to clamp the venous line, then once you've transfused that volume back into our patient, okay, that reservoir level is at the connector, the next thing we're going to do is come off pump. So he's going to clamp his A-line, and you're going to clamp your A-line too. Okay? So everybody's clamped. So if anybody takes a clamp off by mistake, something pops off, you're still clamped to the table, nothing's going to anybody. Okay? Air to the patient, right? Okay? Then after we do that, you're going to clamp. You already have a clamp on your V, and you already have a clamp on your A.
Close your shunts.
Close your shunts. You're going to take, this is outflow. You're going to clamp outflow, inflow to the oxygenator, outflow of the oxygenator. So how many clamps do you need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So 3 to the rest. Okay.
Okay? Then you're going to start replacing those lines. Okay? You want to, one of the first things else you don't want to forget is your gas line. Hook up your gas line. You're also going to have to move your suction and vent, your recirc, your cardioplegia, your venous. There's a lot to move over. Okay? But obviously the most important things are what? Inflows and outflows, inflows and outflows, because that's what's going to get you back on pump. Do I need a suction and a vent to be on pump? No. We're not going to be delivering cardioplegia in the midst of this. Okay, so the idea would be to get your inflows and outflows and start recirculating, and then the other person, hopefully it's a perfusionist, can help you with suction, vent, cardioplegia high pressurization line, your venous return line. Okay? All right. You want to go with me, or you want me to do it with Randy? Or you want to do it with Randy? I don't care.
Can I watch first?
No.
I prefer. Okay. I'll take it. Welcome to
I'm
channel.
teasing.
I'm gonna do it with him and I'll do the water.
Okay, so you're over here. Back up.
I need 2. Oh, sorry.
So essentially right now you're on bypass flowing at 3.5. The first thing you're going to do is notify our surgeon. Homework, can I get an oxygenator? Notify our surgeon that we're going to have to change out an oxygenator. So we're going to be taking you off pump, and when I say, could you please clamp your aorta and your venous line, your A and V. Okay? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to clamp your V. Okay? And notice you're still on flow. So you're going to clamp your V, and you're going to ask him to clamp V.
Would you clamp B, please?
Okay?
Clamped.
Now, she's separating it, so what you're going to do is follow your level down.
Okay.
You need to get a clamp on this line or you're going to lose it. Okay, so now you want to follow it all the way down to the connector, the level. So take your clamp back off, because we don't want to lose this blood volume. You got 400 or 500, a liter sitting there, right?
Wait, out here?
No. You can clamp here, but the level's gonna drop. Can you open A again? He's still got a couple hundred cc's over here. So essentially what you did was stop the return to your reservoir, so you're translocating the volume that's in your reservoir back into your patient. Okay, and you're gonna drop, no, there's 200 sitting there.
Going backwards. Why are we going backwards?
Open this clamp up. Now we're gonna learn how to reprime a head. Leave your A underneath. So if you have macro air, what are you doing? Walking it back to the reservoir. So essentially what I'm doing now is priming my head from what? My patient. My patient's higher than my head, right? So that's where I'm getting my fluid from. Don't clamp my A, Shannon.
Oh, sorry.
You clamp my A? Let's take my shunt off. Gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. I don't have any level coming back from your A's not underneath water, so I can't retrograde fill it. There we go. Okay. Okay, Frandy, one more time, buddy. You're making me crazy already. Okay, V is clamped, so you're restricting venous return, right?
Right.
Okay. You got a clamp on A?
No.
No clamp on A?
No.
Okay. So what I want to do is take the volume from here through my circuit, and I want to give it back to the patient. I don't want to lose this blood volume. So I'm going to follow the level down. When it hits the connector, I'm going to stop it. Okay, so now I've not lost that blood volume. If there's 300 cc sitting there, that's a unit of blood. I'm going to have to replace that, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, can you clamp A for me?
Yeah.
I shut my shunt off. Okay, because if she clamps A and I don't have my shunt off, when she takes that clamp off of A, what's going to happen?
It's gonna go.
The shunt's going to drop the line, right? Okay. Now, if you have time, the best thing to do is cool your patient, right? Because the cooler patient, we get a longer time to change the oxygenator